Right here, sir. Yeah, right, yeah.
Does the president have the constitutional authority, just because of the shutdown, to lay off thousands of federal government workers, or withhold funding for congressionally approved projects that are already in use?
Yeah, he does. Okay, this is the way the system works. This is Chuck Schumer's decision is to hand, as I said on a couple interviews yesterday, the keys to the kingdom to the president. Right? He has put himself in that situation, and it's completely unnecessary. The president takes no pleasure in this. The president did not want a shutdown. I'm telling you this from my own testimony. I was in the Oval Office. He pleaded with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to do the right thing. Keep the government open. We'll talk about all these other issues later because that's how the process works. But failing that, because they have decided to vote to shut the government down, they have now effectively turned off the legislative branch, the Article 2 branch of, or the Article 1, sorry, the Article 1 branch of our government, and they've turned it over to the executive. Okay? So in that situation, when Congress turns off the funding and the funding runs out, it is up to the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, to determine how those resources will be spent. He has that responsibility given to him by the Democrats in the Senate. They can't complain about it, and he doesn't want to do it. But in this scenario, what they have to do is make very difficult decisions. Most of the responsibility falls to Russ Vought. He's the director of the Office of Management and Budget, as you know. Whomever is seated in the chair at OMB during a shutdown has to do the same thing. Russ does this reluctantly. We had a 45-minute telephone conference with him yesterday. He talked to all the House Republicans. He takes no pleasure in this because Russ has to sit down and decide, because he's in charge of that office, which policies, personnel, and which programs are essential and which are not. That is not a fun task, and he is not enjoying that responsibility. And it could end today if the Senate Democrats would come to their senses and do the right thing for the American people. But if they don't, and if they keep the government closed, it's going to get more and more painful because the resources run out and more things have to be reduced and eliminated. Now, when he sits down as the director of OMB, he will obviously have a subjective determination on the priorities. And what do you think he would do? Because what would any OMB director do under any president? They're going to look to see for the administration's priorities first and ensure that those are funded. And so those are some very serious determinations that have to be made. We want to protect hardworking federal workers. And these are people who protect all the rest of us, by the way. We mentioned TSA agents, Border Patrol agents. Our troops, the military, are not being paid, and so they're inflicting hardship on people for no reason. Is it constitutional? Is it lawful? Is it part of our system? Of course it is. It always has been. And the Democrats are the ones who have decided to inflict the pain, not the president. Back row, back row.
You all have shared polling showing the American public is on your side. I'm wondering if those layoffs happen in mass, thousands of federal workers are eventually cut from their jobs and programs. Do you worry you're going to sort of lose the support of the public in that scenario?
No, I mean, look, the reason that we're talking with you so plainly today is to explain to every single American citizen why this is happening. How in the world could they blame the people here who have done our job and sent over a clean CR to keep the lights on? There is no gimmick. People say, why aren't you negotiating with Schumer and Jeffries? Because I quite literally have nothing to negotiate. There's nothing I can pull out of the bill that was a Republican priority to say, oh, we won't do that. Why don't you guys vote for it now? I don't have anything. I didn't put anything in it to send it over. I'm stunned. I'm stunned that they have decided to shut the government down and hurt people. It is on them 100%. The New York Times poll that was put on the Senate floor yesterday, I think it was, day before, they pointed out to Chuck Schumer, who's from New York, of course, that the New York Times, clearly not a right-leaning organization, publication, has found that 65% of respondents said, please, Democrats, don't shut the government down because you don't get what you want. Many of them remember in New York, of course, what Chuck Schumer and AOC and all the rest. AOC literally said that on the House floor several months back. She said, it's not normal to shut the government down just because you don't get what you want. Well, what changed? What changed? It's on them and not us. Yes, ma'am.
We've learned that the Senate obviously may take up your bill again, but if it fails, we've been told it's possible senators could go home for the weekend. They won't hold any votes until Monday. Do you think the Senate needs to stay?
Of course they do. Of course they do. And the House is coming back next week, hoping that they will be sending us something to work on, that we can get back to work and do the people's business. They're anxious to come back, but the Senate Democrats, 44 of them, all the pressure should be on the 44 Democrats who were dug in to try to pander to the far left corner of their base. That's what this is. How important is it to appeal to the radical left of your base and hurt Americans? Because if they drag this on through the weekend, more and more people will be hurt. I want you to think about, I come from a big military district, okay? Louisiana's 4th Congressional District is home to Barksdale Air Force Base and the command of Global Strike. The Global Strike Command is in my district. In the south part of my district, we have Fort Polk and the Joint Readiness Training Center. I have lots of active duty military and lots of veterans. I want you to think about the young airman or the young soldier who's deployed right now, defending our freedom and all of us in America's interest. And they've left, I think of this one particular family. This gentleman is deployed. He's got a young wife at home and they have 3 small children under the age of 6. She's not going to get a paycheck as long as Chuck Schumer is playing political games up here. They don't have a big, I know this family well, they don't have a large tranche of savings, okay? This is going to be a serious hardship. She won't be able to make the car note. She won't be able to maybe pay for groceries for the kids because Chuck Schumer is up here playing games to pander to the far left of his space. It's outrageous. Real people are getting hurt. Veterans are not getting health care services. We have suicide prevention programs, okay, that will not be funded because of this. This is not a game. FEMA services, if your flood insurance lapsed right now and you need to renew it, you can't do that right now. We have hurricanes off the coast of the United States right now. If you buy a home and flood insurance is required, which is in so many places around the country, you can't close on your home right now because Chuck Schumer and 43 friends in the Democrat friends in the Senate are making a game out of this. It is ridiculous. It is irresponsible and dangerous. We'll come in at any hour, at any day to get the job done, but they won't. Yes.
Senator Chuck Grassley had said there could be $27 billion of AC subsidies fraud. I know congressional Republicans have been looking at this issue of the Obamacare tax subsidies with those estimates. Do you have any concerns about that? And also, Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, and 88 total pro-life organizations have said they are concerned that the Hyde Amendment is being a burden with those Obamacare subsidies and that people are getting elective abortions through that program. So are conservatives concerned about this?
Conservatives are very concerned about the subsidies. Not only that, but they're subsidizing not American citizens, they're subsidizing insurance companies with that, which has driven premiums up. It's got lots of problems, okay? I was in the Oval Office with the President, with Leader Thune, Leader Jeffries, and Leader Schumer a few days ago. And Leader Thune rightfully said to Chuck Schumer, that is a red herring in this, and you all know it. That is the subsidies that you're referring to don't expire until December 31st. We're at the end of September. You're trying to take a December policy issue and insert it into this discussion about whether we're going to keep government operating for the people. That is a ploy. They've done that simply so that they can show a fight against Trump and Republicans. Let me tell you what that is all about. There'll be lots of thoughtful discussion, deliberation, and debate about that because there's lots of opinions and it needs major reform. Leader Thune told Leader Schumer very clearly in front of the President, before that's even considered, you have to take on real reforms to address those issues. And they demonstrated right there in front of the President. He saw it for himself. That's not a simple issue. That's going to take weeks to deliberate and discuss and debate. But that's the beauty of the process. We have 3 months to do that. That is not an issue for today. The only issue is whether they're going to vote to keep the government operating for the people. Clear, plain and simple. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker?
Thanks so much. Democrats want to not only have health insurance for illegals, but some of your Democratic colleagues over in the Senate are also talking about DEI programs that Democrats want to bring back. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, there's all sorts of... Remember, we sent over a 24-page clean CR. They sent over this thing that you'll have to see on my website to believe it yourself. But it's all chock full of all sorts of crazy things that they want to restore. And DEI has always been one of their big priorities. They want to spend $1.5 trillion new dollars of spending is what they're demanding to keep the lights on around here. It's absurd, and they should know it. They're all wrapped around the axle about these woke progressive programs being ended. But that's what the election was about. That woke progressive stuff is what the American people rejected. Some of our Democrat colleagues here are doubling, tripling down on it. Good luck with that. Good luck with that for the midterm election.
Today at the White House with Mr. Gov't, the President posted on Truth Social this morning that the meeting is to determine which of the Democrat agencies they recommend to be cut. This is in addition to the money for New York, for the transit funding being cut, and in addition to blue states seeing their energy funding cut
Two questions on this. I mean, do you think this is political targeting? Is that appropriate? And then in addition,
No.
HUD had on its agency webpage blaming radical Democrats for this. Is that an appropriate use of taxpayer money being overtly political? It's something we haven't seen before.
I think what the HUD website says is the objective truth that we're telling you right now. There are 44 Democrats in the Senate, and by the way, every Democrat in the House except one who voted to shut the government down. They are the ones that made that decision. The White House and the executive branch take no pleasure in this. But when they are tasked with determining what their priorities are, obviously they're going to follow their principles and priorities and not the other team. That's the results of an election that everybody voted in, the popular election and electoral college. I am. And that's why I'm pleading with the entire country to call your senators, your Democrat senators, the 44 people who want to shut the government down. You should call them right now and tell them to get here and get to work and open the country up for the people. So many of you asked me this morning about sombreros and memes and why Hakeem Jeffries is all alarmed by that. But look, these are games. These are sideshows. People are getting caught up in battles over social media memes. We've got to keep this is not a game. We've got to keep the government open for the people. I don't know why this is so complicated. And to my friend Hakeem, who I was asked about, man, just ignore it. I mean, Gavin Newsom was trolling me last night. He painted me like a minion. He painted me yellow with big glasses and overalls. And I thought it was hilarious. You don't respond to it. For all my friends, R's and D's, don't respond to it. Get to work, do the people's business, and let's get on with it. Thank y'all so much.